Good evening, and welcome back to an evening in the planetarium at home. I'm Mr. Jason, your local planetarium supervisor at the St. Charles Parish Library Planetarium. I'm glad you could join me again for this second episode. Well, if you missed our last one, feel free, you can go back and see it in our videos. We have it still posted, but we're going to keep moving on. Last time we saw some stars, but we're going to see some more stars. But I want to start off with a special image. Yesterday was Earth Day, and it's still Earth Week, but I want to show you the image that helped inspire Earth Day. It's called Earthrise. This image was taken by one of the Apollo 8 astronauts, William Anders. The Apollo 8 was the first mission to go around the moon and come back to Earth. Never before had anyone, man, woman, any human being, ever been so far away from our little, blue marble in space. The cradle of our species and all life as we know it. As the Apollo 8 capsule came around the moon, as it came around, it started to see the Earth rising up from the horizon of the moon. It didn't land on the moon. This image isn't taken from the surface of the moon, but it's taken from the orbit of the moon. And as the Earth rose up, William Anders snapped this famous Earthrise photograph. The first time we've seen our Earth, not for the vast plains and giant mountains and, incredibly deep oceans that cover our world, but we see it as a little blue marble, alone in the dark, in the vast emptiness of space. We get to see that that's our home. That's us, everything that ever is and ever will be. And, we gotta take care of it. So, Earth Day began over 50 years ago. Well, actually, 50 years ago exactly yesterday. So, we're going to continue on. I just wanted to share this image of our Earth from the moon. First ever taken from such a vast distance away. We're going to continue on. And, I showed you some stars last time, but I come to realize that we might have had a little confusion as to what we were seeing, how we were seeing it. So I wanted to go over a sky map with you. This is a sky map. Unlike a normal map, you might notice that, first off, the directions are different. North still on top, south still on bottom, but east and west, they switched. Normally west is on the left and east is on the right. Now we shall eat. But it's the opposite, because we're not looking down at a map. We're looking up at the stars. Imagine that you're laying down the ground and you're looking straight up at the night sky. There's, trees maybe that off in the distance, but not blocking your view. You're in a nice open plain, open field, and you look up. If you could see all the stars in your view, that's what you'd see in this image. Around the bottom is actually the horizon. At the top, in the center, is the, straight above you, the top of the sky, if you look straight up. That's what's at the center here. This is a sky map of about 9 o'clock this evening. We see a lot more stars in this map than what you'd see outside, depending on light pollution. But you can still see the bright ones outside. And we're going to take a look at some of those bright stars and fake stars even. We're going to start off by facing west. As the sun starts to go down, the sky will go darker. And as it does, you'll see one bright star before any others. Wish you may, wish you might, don't wish on that star tonight. Because that's not a star. It's actually a planet. This bright star right there is a fake star. It doesn't twinkle. If you see a bright star that doesn't twinkle, chances are you found a planet, and that's the planet Venus, up in our western sky tonight. As it gets darker, the actual stars will come out, and we can still see some of the stars of winter, even though it's springtime right now. The stars of winter are getting low in their western sky, and they're setting earlier and earlier as we move towards summer. But they're still up there. You might see the belt of Orion here, but you can really see the bright star Betelgeuse. It's a bright red star. Stars do have different colors. Red stars are cooler, blue stars are hotter. Yellow stars, like our sun, are average temperature, in between. Betelgeuse is a really big star, a super giant star. A red supergiant, and it's going to go supernova. It's going to blow up. But that's a talk for another time, or if you have questions, post them in the comments below. I'll answer those and provide some cool links with more information. Betelgeuse is one of 3 stars that make a simple shape in the sky. This simple shape is not a constellation. Constellations are official star pictures. There are 88 official star pictures that astronomers use to divide up the sky as they observe. This simple shape is an asterism. An asterism is just any shape you want to go out and make. There are a few, accepted asterisms that lots of people see and can refer to, but nothing's official. This one asterism I want to show you is called the Winter Triangle. We'll start from Betelgeuse. We'll go from Betelgeuse to this star right here. You can find it by following the belt of Orion down towards it, or in this case, over towards it. That is the brightest star in our nighttime sky. It's Sirius. I mentioned it last time, but it stands to be mentioned again. It's worth mentioning again because it is the brightest star in our sky. That is Sirius. It's one of the 2 dog stars. The other one is, if you head straight up from Sirius, look straight up, you'll see another bright star. That's Procyon. Procyon is the other dog star. These are called dog stars because they're in the constellations of the dogs. The big dog and the little dog. Sirius marks the collar of Canis Major, the big dog. Procyon, it's just one of 2 stars right here that make up the little dog, Canis Minor. But these 3 stars, when you connect the dots, form our winter triangle. Just one simple shape you can go out and make from these bright stars you'll see in tonight's sky. But there's more. And there's another asterism you're probably really familiar with. But it's in the northern sky. So we're going to spin around. If we're facing west, to face north, we need to turn to our right. So we're going to just turn in place to our right. Not all the way around. Not 360, because we'll just end up back facing west. Not 180, because then we'll be facing east. We want to go about 90 degrees to our right. So we're going to turn right to face north. But of course, before we do, I want to show you all the constellations that are out there. There's lots of them out there. Not only Orion and the dogs, Canis Major, Canis Minor, there's Gemini. Those are some of the winter constellations. But high up in the sky, the spring constellations are up there. And, getting higher and moving across the sky as the night goes on. But we're going to take that turn now to the north. We're going to spin around to the north and we'll see that, our constellations of winter are still over here. And even Venus is still up there. It's just now to our left. And up in our sky, there's new constellations, new star pictures, and a familiar asterism or 2, a familiar shape. The most familiar shape in the sky that y'all probably know is the Big Dipper. We often go out and find the Big Dipper. It's 7 stars. It's right here. 1 star, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3 stars make the handle, and 4 make the cup. That's the Big Dipper. The Big Dipper, it's not a constellation. It's actually part of a larger constellation, the Big Bear, Ursa Major. But this bear has a long, stretched out tail. That's the handle of the Dipper, and that's another tale to be told later. We can use the Big Dipper to find our way around the night sky. We can first use it to find one of the most important stars. It's not very bright. It's actually pretty dim, but it's really important. We can connect the dots of these 2 stars in the cup, Merak and Dubhe. We could draw a line from Merak through Dubhe down to this star right there. It's not the brightest, but it's important. It's the North Star, Polaris. Polaris is called the North Star because it never rises, never sets. It's always in the north. All the other stars appear to rise in the east, move across the sky, and set in the west, but not the North Star. It's straight above our North Pole, and as our Earth spins, it doesn't move because it's straight above the North Pole. We just see it as if all the stars are going in circles around it. We'll see more of that later. But we're going to move on. We're going to rotate again. We're going to spin around in place another 90 degrees, another quarter turn, and we're going to face east. We can see that our Big Dipper is still up there. It's just now to our left. Venus is back behind you now because it's in the west. And we can use the Big Dipper not to find the North Star, but to find some spring stars. We can use the handle of the Big Dipper. The handle of the Big Dipper has kind of a bend to it, an arc to it. We can follow that arc across the sky. We can use it to arc to, well, one star right down here, Arcturus. We can follow the Big Dipper's handle and arc to Arcturus. Arcturus is in the springtime constellation of Boötes, but we'll talk more about Boötes and some of the other springtime constellations later on in another episode. We're going to move from Arcturus. We're going to arc to Arcturus. Normally I tell you to spike down to Spica. But, well, we're not going to be spiking anywhere. We're not going to spike down. We're going to be moving across. So instead of spiking to Spica, we're going to continue that curve. We're going to make a big curve from the Big Dipper's handle through Arcturus, through Spica, and we're going to continue on to a little box of stars. That little box is Corvus, the crow. It's another little constellation in our sky. We can curve to Corvus. We arc to Arcturus, move through Spica, and curve on to Corvus. But Corvus looks like a little box, but it's supposed to be a crow. I guess you can kind of see the body and the wings and a little beak coming down if you use your imagination. But that's not the best of the springtime constellations. It's not very regal anyway. If we want a regal constellation, we need to look high up overhead. So if we arc to Arcturus, we continue our arc to Spica. From Spica, though, we can make a leap high up overhead to Leo, the lion. The lion's roaring across the night sky right now. In Leo, you might see a bunch of stars that make kind of a weird shape, kind of like a backwards question mark. That backwards question mark is called the Sickle of Leo. It looks like a curved blade used for harvesting crops. That's a sickle. At the point of the question mark, though, is a bright star. That star is Regulus. Regulus is the brightest star in Leo, the lion, and it's part of another asterism. We had the winter triangle. Well, now we're going to see the spring triangle. We connect the dots from Regulus down to Arcturus, and then on to Spica, and then back up to Regulus to make a big triangle in the sky. The spring triangle. But some people aren't big fans of that version of the spring triangle. It's a big spread out triangle across the sky. They like to make a little bit smaller, more compact and equilateral triangle by using not the brightest star in Leo the lion, but this little dim star. It marks the tail line. It's called the nebula. And you connect the dots of the nebula, Arcturus, and Spica, and you'll get another spring triangle. So another asterism. Asterisms just make familiar shapes in the sky. So you can make whatever ones you want. You connect the dots, you can make squares. There are ones that are familiar, like a great square, Pegasus, but that won't be coming up till later on in the year. It's not up right now in the nighttime sky, it's up during the day because it's a fall constellation. But you can make all kinds of shapes. You can make a little box shape out of Corvus if you want. It's going to be a little lopsided, but it's okay. It's a star shape nonetheless. I hope you can go out and enjoy the night sky. Look for those bright stars. Look for Venus. Look for the bright star Sirius, Procyon, and Betelgeuse. Make that winter triangle. Find the Big Dipper in the sky. Use it to find the North Star, Polaris. And use its handle to arc across the sky to Arcturus, continue to curve on to Spica, and on curve to Corvus. And then maybe even jump from Spica, making a leap to Leo. So go out, look up. Do so, of course, safely. Keep your social distance. Help us flatten the curve. But do enjoy the night sky. as I mentioned, there are still constellations up there. Still a lot to see. Not just Leo the Lion, not just Corvus the Crow. There's lots of stories up there, and I'll share some with you in the near future. But for now, we'll be seeing you soon underneath our dome, and until then, go out and look up. I'm Jason Talley with the St. Charles Parish Library Planetarium, and I want to thank you for joining us this evening, and hope you can join us again under the dome real soon.